I have a very special guest today. My very first subject, maybe? Is that the word? For FeBREWary, which we're doing here on Radio 105.7, highlighting some awesome local Atlanta beers, and there are some really, really great ones. And actually, I've met a lot of people from a lot of the local breweries. Jason from Second Self, this is our very first time meeting.
It is.
So nice to have you in, and thank you for being the very first featured beer for FeBREWary.
Well, thank you very much. I'm happy to be your first featured / subject to figure this all out.
Subject, yeah, I'm totally going with that. All right, so before we get going with the talking beer, let's wet the palate. Let's get going on something. What are you going to start us out here with Second Self collection?
I'm going to give you a sneak peek of a beer that's not coming out too much. So we have our latest beer.
Okay.
We call AT Ale.
Love it.
Inspired by the city itself.
Oh, it's so
Some beautiful artwork highlighting some of the local landmarks of Atlanta.
Okay.
So this is going to be a little lighter beer. It's kind of like it's unfiltered, hoppy, pale, a touch of wheat to make it a little softer and easier to drink. Super tasty. It's what we're all drinking right now at the brewery.
The adjectives that you're using to describe this could be describing some other things that have nothing to do with beer.
Very true.
Oh, that's really nice. It tastes pale, but it doesn't finish as bitter.
Right. Yeah, so we're using
Nice.
very floral, citrusy hops, and the way we make that aroma and flavor pop is kind of using it at the end of the boil instead of the beginning.
Okay.
And using it at the beginning, they're a little bit more bitter. At the end, it makes it more aromatic and flavorful.
That makes sense. All right, so tell everybody where you guys are located and if it's a place that people can stop by.
Absolutely. So we are at just off of Chattahoochee Avenue, off Logan Circle, is the industrial complex we're at. So our address is 1317 Logan Circle. And that is our tasting room, that is our brewery, that is our event space.
Okay.
So we're there, Monday through Friday brewing beer. But we're open to the public Monday, Thursday, Friday, 6 to 8, and Saturday, Sunday, 1 to 4.
And what's the website so that people can, if they want to do a tour?
SecondSelfBeer.com.
Okay. And in just a little bit, we'll give away some 4-packs of passes for tours in just a little bit. All right. So you were talking about the tours and the tastings, and this brings up a very important thing that actually just came up in the news, and that is a brand new bill in Georgia that you guys have been pushing for a really, really long time, but not until craft brewing really started to explode in this area has it really kind of come to a head.
That's correct. Yeah.
Let's see what I did there. So let's talk about the Bill 85.
Yeah, so Senate Bill 85, SB 85, it was passed last week in the Senate, and it's going to be going to the House soon here in our legislative session. And what this allows breweries to do is to, for the first time, be able to sell beer to our customers who come visit us.
So before, you could charge people for a tour, and you could give them samples, but they couldn't purchase a can, a 6-pack, a pint, a 12-pack, anything.
Right. So we 2 years ago, we did a small change that allowed us to sell up to 72 ounces of souvenir gift beer. Again, not real beer, just souvenir gifts. And that's basically a 6-pack to go. Okay. So with this, we can sell a case.
That was semantics, essentially. This is a real...
Yeah, this is a real
giving
thing.
you an opportunity to have people come see where you make the beer and then actually buy the stuff that they like while they're there.
Absolutely. And it helps us because we can create more small batch stuff, more unique things, sell it directly to the customer. And
well, it makes sense.
Yeah.
You're making it right there. With that, you should be able to actually buy it, even if it is in small quantities. All right. Let's fire something else up. What else you got?
So Valentine's is coming up, so I like showing off this beer. It's really fun. It's called Bleeding Heart. So we made this for Valentine's. So a lot of our beers are inspired by food or a place. This one inspired by a holiday.
Okay.
And then to find the inspiration for the flavor, I looked to Red Velvet Cake, the Southern classic. So this is a amber with cocoa and vanilla. We get our cocoa from Cacao on the west side as well, one of our neighbors.
Cheers.
So cheers to that as well.
So this is on shelves right now?
On shelves right now.
Okay. Oh, that's nice.
Yep. So stock up for Valentine's Day next week, and then it's a lot of bars and restaurants are going to be putting on this weekend.
Oh, I imagine so, because falling on a Tuesday, a lot of people are going to check off the Valentine's Day box over the weekend. Yeah, and some are hoping for both weekends, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
Outstanding. And what was that one called again?
Thank you. It's called Bleeding Heart.
Bleeding Heart.
So if you're like me, who likes spending Valentine's at home with your loved one, you can pick up a 6-pack and make your own delicious meal.
Well, I think that makes the most sense, especially if everybody's on the same page. You just are going to pay more just to have dinner on that particular evening because restaurants are totally capitalizing on that, and you realize it. Problem is, if it's a brand new relationship, it might not always fly.
Right.
You might just have to just suck it up and do it.
Yep.
All right, well, so how long have you guys been brewing over there? You brewing in general, and then you brewing as Second Self.
Yeah, so I've been brewing with my business partner, Chris. We're both tech grads. That's how we met. And so we've been brewing since 2005 at the home scale. Chris went to become a professional brewer in 2012. And we opened the brewery in 2015. So 2014.
All right, well, hold on. What's the distinction between a professional brewer and you, who that's clearly your job and you're clearly making money doing it?
Right.
Why are you not a professional brewer?
Chris went to school for brewing,
Oh.
and he worked at a large brewery here in Atlanta for a couple years, learning some chops.
Tech has a beer program?
No, maybe.
Okay, we don't have to talk about that. I'm a Georgia grad, but I still love you. My brother went to Tech, and I'm a Tech fan unless Tech's playing Georgia. So, okay, so cool. You decided not to get a real job, and so you wanted to do beer instead?
Not at all. I actually had a real job. So when I graduated, I went straight to consulting, and then eventually into software sales at a big blue company.
Sounds super boring.
Yes, and so it became. Our nights and weekends, our alter ego, as we call it, or our second self. It's how the name came about. This was our passion project. This is what we wanted to do.
Love it.
And that's what. I mean, so we both had corporate jobs and weren't happy and wanted to do this.
So a hobby turned into something that you could actually make a living at. You just had to do it in your spare time, build up enough, good product and capital to do it.
Right. So building the product, the marketing and the labeling was a big part of that. Decisions that we made, tying in the name to all the beers, and then eventually how we're going to launch the market and how we're going to expand and
this is really really great stuff. Is that why you chose the location where you are now? Is an area of town that still has room to?
Yeah, at the time. So it was 2013 when we moved in there. Before it was the Hooters potato salad supplier. So it was someone who boiled potatoes all day.
Okay.
Which was great because it had floor drains and power and gas, all the things we needed to make beer. We thoroughly cleaned it.
None of your beer tastes like potato peels?
But it was great because the warehouse we had half of the time. Now we have the whole thing.
Okay.
So let us expand in place.
Great.
And, another brewery's popped up around the corner, and there's other ones who are looking to move in that area too. So it's becoming like a little brewery district.
That is fantastic. I love it. I love the boom of craft brewing in Atlanta. I know a lot of other cool towns have gone through that. Been to Asheville, and Colorado's got just major stuff. But I love what's happening in Atlanta with that, and it's a really cool community. What I love about the craft brew community here is that everyone supports everyone else too. Yeah. It's competition, but it's friendly competition. No one's talking crap, and everybody wants everybody else to do well. And maybe there's some instances of not that, but that's been my overall experience talking to everyone, and that's a cool camaraderie.
Absolutely. I mean, the way I kind of look at it is once you turn someone on to craft and craft beer, they're not going back.
Right.
So we're all basically trying to convert drinkers into craft beer drinkers.
Right. So one of you succeeds, it does everyone
pretty much
a favor.
Because I mean, when I first started drinking craft beer, I found one I liked, and then I drank all the beers that brewery made, and then went on to the ones around it, and you keep going till you find the one that really speaks to you.
Yeah. So you are inspired by other craft beers that you've tasted throughout your.
And I still do that. I mean, my job is to try to think of what's next in 6 months, what's next in a year, what's next in 2 years, and trying beers that are being made in Asheville, Colorado, other places in Georgia, figuring out how, what they're doing differently, what we can do better. I mean, even this year, we just changed our citrus IPA and our red hop rye to evolve because our flavors have changed and the customers' flavors have changed. So why not change the beer as well?
You're always evolving and changing it.
Right.
All right, should we try another beer?
Sure. We'll do the citrus IPA. I just mentioned that one. So this is a new recipe for the year. So when we first designed these, 8 years ago, we had a certain palate we liked, and I think our palates have changed. So this is actually canned this morning. So you'll very rarely get to taste a beer this fresh. So this is made with very citrusy hops, Amarillo and Citra. Citra is the main one you'll smell there. And we actually had just a little bit of grapefruit peel as well, which adds some pithiness, but just that aromatic of grapefruit makes it really pop.
Oh, yeah. It's really bright at the beginning.
Right.
Really good.
Right. Thank you.
Oh, it's fantastic.
And it was that brightness that we focused on the
yeah,
recipe.
so good. So the question is then, are all of your beers seasonal beers? Do all of them come and go? Are they all offered at all times? I mean, obviously, you're not going to put the Valentine's theme beer out on shelves in August.
Right.
But do you have some that are just mainstays that are out all the time?
Right. So we have 4 year-round beers. Thai wheat's our top seller. So
Okay.
that's going to be it's American wheat with fresh ginger and lemongrass. We get those from DeKalb Farmers Market right by my house.
Okay.
We're cutting them up today because we brewed today.
Okay.
Red Hop Rye is our red rye IPA. The Citrus IPA is also year-round. And then the ATL, which we tried first, that'll be our next.
Your latest will be a
year-round beer starting in March.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so my next question is about the art and the branding.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, with craft brewing, you're not printing out millions and millions of these things. Where do you get the art, and is it solely your inspiration, or do you go, okay, here's what we're going for with this beer, and you have someone create something for you?
It really depends on the beer. So we've had the same designer outside of the Manic Pixie label there.
Okay.
We've had the same designer for all of our cans.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So Tech Scrubs, he works for Adrenaline in Buckhead.
Okay.
He's been a friend of mine for a long time.
Okay.
He did our very original artwork, and basically when I went to him and said, hey, we're actually starting a brewery, he goes, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And so we got some help from the agency as well.
Okay.
But he's been our artist for everything, and so we have a great working relationship. So, with ATL, for example, I told him the name. The art was going to be a layup. I mean, find thing or image. So basically, in this case, the words drove what the image would look like.
It's really, really creative.
Yeah.
It's really creative.
And, it's all Second Self. There's 2 sides to everything. Our logo has 2 twos, or there's 2 colors in our name, 2 colors in all the logos. So,
So you keep that theme
keep
throughout.
that 2 theme going.
That's really that's really, really clever. That's really, really
Thank you.
clever. All right, well, Jason, thank you for letting us sample these awesome beers. Jason was also kind enough to bring by some 4-packs of tour passes. Now, these are passes that people can use at any time you guys are doing open for tours, correct? They're not specific scheduled times.
Absolutely. You can just come and bring them, and you and 3 friends can have a free tour.
Outstanding. Do you have another beer the cans, the art cans.
Yes.
Let's talk about that real quick.
Yes. So we have our first brewery-only release on February 26th, and so this was a fun project. This beer is called Manic Pixie Dream Beer, and so it's kind of based on the movie trope Manic Pixie Dream Girl, which is the girl that is completely desirable yet unattainable, is how I describe it. So, Zooey Deschanel in most things.
Yes. Yeah, her character and everything, yeah.
Right, so this is
also
beer...
lots of people that I know, yeah.
Sure. So this is beer that is highly desirable yet unattainable was the goal. So this is we made a beer, Russian Imperial coffee stout last year, and we put them in Bliss barrels. And Bliss are they start out with Heaven Hill bourbon, and they make maple syrup, and then we buy them.
Okay.
So it's a bourbon maple Russian coffee Imperial stout. So it's big. There's a ton of flavors. I say all those words, and it sounds like it might be too much, but it is still balanced.
Okay.
It's not a mess. It's very beautiful.
Okay.
And so the Manic Pixie Dream for me is when a beer is worthy of the name, we will make it. So not something we'll make it every year, not something we make and commit to it.
Okay.
But because it's so special, I wanted to get a new artist and something different about it. So we're selling the collector 4-pack on the 26th, and so this beer has 4 different art labels for the 4-pack. So each one describes the elements of the beer. So we have one describing maple, one coffee, one bourbon, and one oats.
That is so cool.
I brought the 4-pack of collectors for you today.
That's fantastic. Yeah. That's really, really cool. All right. Do we want to try something else before we...
It's up to you. You want to try it? All right. So this is Manic Pixie.
Let's try it.
Yeah. So this is a pretty strong beer. So it's right at 13.9%.
Okay.
So I hope you don't have too much more to do after today.
I mean, my show's almost over. I think the bad thing about drinking on the air is that you can't hide it because you are telling people that you're drinking on the air.
Right.
I'm not saying that I'm normally drunk on the air and you just don't know. Well, great. Now everyone thinks that.
Sure. Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, wow. Yeah, you weren't kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a lot going on there, but it's not all at the same time.
Right. You really are getting a layer of maple, a layer of bourbon, a little bit of coffee, a little bit of oak.
That's really fantastic.
And at the end, it's a very pleasant flavor that you're left with, and just
So once you use the barrel, though, for the fermentation process, can you use it again once all the flavor is?
Yeah, the first use is always going to give you the most amount of flavor.
Got it. Okay.
We did put something else in there, and we'll age it, and we'll probably blend it with some other fresh barrels to rejuvenate the flavor.
Okay.
But because these were very special barrels, and this is the very first use, we thought this was very, it's very special beer, and that's hence the name.
Definitely worth the barrel use.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
And it's a lot of work on our end. I mean, it's 4 different labels, and we have to repack everything by hand, but it's worth it. Something cool and different and delicious.
Well, and you can tell just by listening to you talk about it. This is not your job. This is a passion for you. This is a labor of love, so to speak. You know your stuff and you love it. So that's the best of both worlds, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I love it.
Oh, and it also turns out that the beer's good too. So
it helps.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah, especially after those long days. Having a nice beer that you made is about the most rewarding thing.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, but also to have that, and you think it tastes good, but then to have other people try it and go, that's really good. And people who know what they're talking about. I don't mean people like me. I mean people who are also in this world. That's probably very flattering as well.
No, so seeing our shirt on people and seeing our bar ordered, that's really the coolest thing.
Okay.
It still is to this day. Whenever I see it.
Jason, thank you so much, Jason and Second Self, for coming in and being the first ever guest for FeBREWary on Radio 105.7. Really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Happy to be your subject. Yes.
Subject.
Thank you, Allie.
Got it.